Bum
How's it
bum
go?
bum ba-dum bum bum bum
Oh,
bum
man,
bum.
bum.
Man, 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 man. Bum 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 bum.
Go on, let's join in. Man, bum, bum, bum. Bash Bros.
The pros in the past won't talk about this. I'm talking about it with the fucking truth. I know names that are big names in the industry that fucking did it. It doesn't matter because in the 70s, the rugby players who never earned any money were doing exactly the same thing. Before you know it, you got a bunch of men sitting there playing hide the sausage with your penis, and then you get a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? So that's what that's
Still blend chicken.
Absolutely 3 times a day.
Yes.
So my first meal is like eggs and toast or porridge and a shake, and then my next 3 meals 2, 3, and 4 chicken blended with a little bit of rice and green veg, and then meal 5 I eat it usually salmon or a steak, and then the last meal is either a shake or casein before bed. That's how I eat every single day. I've done that for about 30 years.
Yes, see, people called me crazy, but Eddie did it, so fuck them.
It's not crazy, is it?
Is it warm when you blend it? Do you warm it? Is it
Do you
warm?
know what?
Is it cold or what?
I've tried to warm it up and it tasted like vomit. That's the only thing I cannot do. So it has to be freezing cold from the fridge. So I blend it the night before, and then it's like meal prep. I'll be doing it shortly, and then it goes into the fridge, and then I pick it up and just knock it back.
See, I can't remember because I stole the idea from a Flex magazine, and I can never remember who it was that was talking about blended chicken.
It was me.
Was that you in the Flex magazine?
Absolutely. It's
you were saying people thought you were crazy. I stole the idea off you, and I couldn't remember whether it was you.
It was. I can say that I was the one who started it in the bodybuilding industry because I used to work with Milos. And when I used to go down the gym, he'd ask me, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you eat?" I'm like, "I'm not eating 1.5 kilos of chicken breasts a day. I'm not eating that." And I mean, if it was KFC, that would be different, wouldn't it?
I don't think blended KFC would be very good.
Oh no, I tried it. You wouldn't like it.
Have you tried it?
I've tried it. You know, I tried everything. I tried salmon. The worst was salmon. You drink, you blend salmon, and it'll actually make you sick because it's just the smell and the texture is awful. But the way you look at it, you do what you need to do to get where you want to get to. You know, and blending was easy for me. We had 3 kids, and the school runs used to take about 2 or 3 hours, and running around and doing PT as well as being a parent. The only way to just stop and eat was just blend it.
Well, I remember you saying as well that you didn't have a big appetite either, and you said
no.
And you said if you couldn't blend it, you couldn't really be a bodybuilder.
Listen, when I decided I wanted to really become a bodybuilder, I was about 9.5 stone and 6 foot. And that, you can imagine that. And my head I looked like a lollipop, like a black lollipop. I don't know if you've ever seen one of them before, you know. So that's why I don't have an appetite. And even now, if I miss out a meal, I lose weight. But that's why I don't miss out meals. I like the way I look. I carry a bit of back fat. I don't actually care because I'm nearly 60, and you know.
Mate, if I'm even alive at 60, I'm gonna
talk a lot. If you leave me to my own devices, I'll talk for an hour without you getting a word in.
That's kind of what we're after. Yeah. We do these every week. I'm sick of what these guys are saying. It's the same. They're Welsh. I don't really even understand.
And we're sick of Dan's voice.
Do you know what? I used to come to Meta. There's a guy called Keith Williams. I don't know if you know Keith Williams. He used to own a gym, and I used to go there quite a lot in Wales. So I spent quite a lot of time in Wales.
Yeah.
It takes some adjusting.
Pardon?
It takes some adjusting.
Well, you know what? On the whole, I didn't. I just actually loved it. Loved going there because it was, people seemed a lot more down to earth and a lot more chill than they are around here. And I loved it there,
Yeah, better than those Bristolians.
Hey, we're only over the river, mate. We're only over the river.
Bristol, you're from Bristol.
Yeah.
That's where ProLab, when I was sponsored by ProLab, that's where they were based. So I used to come there a lot. Sean Davies.
Yeah, Sean Davies. It got bought by Trojan, and now Trojan has moved round the corner, and that's where we train,
Okay, cool.
Yes. I know the legacy.
The legacy, yeah.
Blended chicken, ProLab, masking.
Absolutely.
That's all we need.
Don't get those twisters. Don't blend up your ProLab.
Oh, mate, do you remember when fucking, what was it, Katie Price, Jordan? She even she brought one out, didn't she, at some point? And it was that
Katie?
Proper.
No, you're talking about Jodie Marsh.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Same slapper, different country.
Oh.
Same country.
I can't really say anything bad about Jodie because I worked with her, didn't I? I got
shit!
For the competition.
Oh shit!
For the competition. No,
edit that bit out. Edit that bit out.
No. It's not. The thing is, I'm not. You're the way you see a celebrity or any person is entirely up to you. I mean, it's not. It's what you know what I mean. It's what the media feeds you, or what she feeds you by what she puts out. So you're entitled to judge. I mean, people are entitled to judge me. I don't. If you think she is what she is, it's up to you. It's not. I don't. I don't comment on that at all.
She's not watching this anyway.
No, I don't think she's going to watch it. I think her and Jordan have probably got other stuff to do.
Well, she might if I put it as clickbait.
Oh my God!
Eddie reveals all of secrets.
Oh God! I'm gonna get a letter bomb from Jodie Marsh's fan club.
I think I worked with her. We got ready for competition, and then we parted ways. It's just not, we didn't part sort of amicably. It's just one of those things in the industry, and how this industry is. It's a very fickle industry. I don't know if you realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going through the sponsorships I've had over the years, and basically I was a sponsorship whore. I've been fucked by every company, every Metrics fucked me, CMP fucked me, ProLab fucked me, and Cytec fucked me. They all do. I mean, it's just one of those things. You accept it,
So you're pretty sore then, Eddie.
Have you seen me walk?
We all thought it was the big legs. It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
No, it's not. It's
I love it. Right. Welcome back to Bash Bros Podcast, episode 34. We had to work on that one to figure out which episode we were on. But yeah, we're on episode 34, and we are privileged to have Mr. Eddie Abbew, IFBB Pro, UK legend. And for those watching this who don't know who he is, I'll do the usual routine and share his Instagram.
I'm not allowed to tell them to fuck off anymore. You just, if you don't know who Eddie is, fuck off now.
If you don't know who this man is, then yeah, you need to go do some homework.
I was about to say it.
But yeah, this is
hat fashion there.
Probably the biggest bodybuilder to come out of the UK on the pro scene. When I first started bodybuilding, Eddie was the guy in all the Flex magazines and doing all that good stuff. So just for everyone's benefit, Eddie, we've got to take into account there's some younger viewers and what have you. Yeah. Give us a little a rundown of what got you into bodybuilding, bud.
People always ask me this question, and I was in a boarding school, so in Nairobi, and in the holidays I saw a bunch of weights in one of my teachers. His name was David Wilson, in his garden. And I wasn't supposed to. Basically, that area was out of bounds. But I still managed to sneak in there, and I just saw some weights. And I saw like a little magazine there, and he had somebody doing concentration curls and dumbbell presses. So I went there every single day and did concentration curls and dumbbell presses. By the time school opened, my arms started. This is about 15 years old. My arms are like 15, nearly 18 inches. And everyone's like, "Oh my God, how'd you do that?" And then I started charging people. This is like 80, 81. I started charging people at the school to train them and stuff. So I realized, then I saw a magazine with Sergio Oliver, and I remember thinking, wow, how can you look like that? And then the more I read about it, the more I realized that, you can eat and train and look that way. And then I was hooked. And then I found out about the Olympia. So from that age, I just wanted to stand on that Olympia stage once.
That's quite a turnaround, isn't it? I saw some weights in the garden, picked them up, had 18-inch arms, and thought I should go to the Olympia.
And you fucking done it.
It was to me, it was a challenge. I didn't realize that there's a lot in between that I didn't even realize that they took anything. I just thought it was just, you lifted the weight, because I responded very quickly. So I think in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, I can do this. And then obviously you leave school, and then education takes over. You train. I'm trained as a nurse, and then it continued training, and then I managed to get there in the end. It took a while, but life happened in between. You know what I mean?
So you say you got there, Ed. What was how quickly did you turn pro? And I'm assuming you responded very quickly. I only really know you as a pro, so I don't know what the road was to get in that pro card.
So I this is I'll take about 5 minutes. I did my first show, 1991, and I got on there and I got my ass kicked. I mean, we had people like Eddie Elwood, and they're all there. There's a guy called Linky Wilson, massive. And this is the old guy. So I got my ass kicked. So I took 92 off, and I came back 93, and I was on. I won my qualifier, and then I came third in the British finals, and then one thing led to another. And then, so it took me 5 years to win the overall British champion and get my pro card. It took me 5 years of competing at the British finals. And then that was 97. And then from then on, I wanted to get to Olympia. People were like, you got to live in the States, you got to have big sponsorship behind you. And I didn't believe in that. I know as frustrating as pathetic as it is, I just didn't want to bring up my kids in the States. I could have moved there. I got 3 kids, and there's absolutely no way I wanted my kids to live in the States. No, not for any reason. I just prefer the education system here. And that's my decision to stay here. So it took me a lot longer, but people were telling me I couldn't do it. And that's what made me want to do it. It took me 10 years of getting my pro card in 97 to get on the Olympia stage in 2007, which, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, but still, that's a lot faster than never, which is where 99.99% of everyone else.
It was an awesome. To me, the most most spectacular part of the Olympia was not the competition, because I knew you're not going to be Victor Martinez, who I think should have won the 2007 one. He was on. Jay Cutler won. He was Miss Olympia, but Jay Cutler is my friend. I mean, I get really well with him, but I'm just saying what I think on that year. Every other year, yes, but I think. Then when I got in the taxi, driving from the airport to the venue, to the hotel, and on the screens you can see big billboards with your photos and the video flashing, and that was awesome. That was really, really good to see. Because this is it's a little African kid just made it to that point. It was incredible to actually see that. You get all good, because they show all the competitors on the screen as you're driving on the strip, and you can see it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's me. That was good.
Yes, I can only imagine. What was your biggest victory? That doesn't, maybe not even the biggest show, but the one that you're most proud of.
It was my qualification for the Olympia, because like I said, I always say I could have qualified somewhere else, not in the States. But then the Americans didn't care about the shows that were not done in the States. They just, at that time, the thing's a bit different now. I don't know if you call it bodybuilding, I don't know what it is now, but at that time, the time that we were in, only the Ironman, Night of the Champions, which is in the New York Road now, the Arnold Classic, and they were the three biggest shows. So the top 5 qualified for the Olympia at those shows because they were good shows. So I wanted to qualify in one of them. So that's why when I qualified, when I got on that stage, and Tony Freeman, I was backstage, just, I was always first to go on alphabetical order. And so backstage, we were saying about 30 competitors and nobody's budging. And the organizers are like, guys, get ready, nobody's budging. And I know I'm going to be first. So I sneaked into a corner to get changed. And as I was getting changed to my close-up, Tony Freeman walks in and his son says, staring at me. And then I'm getting wound up because I'm thinking, why is he looking at me? And then he goes away and brings back some of his friends, keep staring at me, pointing, not, you know what I mean? Not saying anything. I'm getting paranoid. I'm like, I'm going to deck this guy in a minute. And then, anyway, so when you get on the stage, first call out, Tony Freeman, me. I was actually called out first. And then when we got off the stage, he says to me, it's between you and me. I knew then. I mean, I had people like Sylvia Samuel there, Ahmed Haida. There were enough people there that were big names that I had only seen in magazines. I didn't think, but then I had done my homework and I understood my body really well. And to me, that was the last. If I wasn't going to qualify, I was going to just give it up. So the attitude, everything was written down. I used to prep myself. You know how it is. People with coaches now, we did our own thing.
And you knew that you'd brought the best that you were going to bring that year.
I'll tell you why that happened, because the year before, this was in February 2007 in Pasadena in California. So the year before, in October, I'd done 3 shows in one weekend. So the pictures that you see with myself and Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and some of them. So we did 4 shows and 3 shows in one weekend. So Friday we were in Austria, and then Saturday we were in Romania, and then Sunday we were in Holland. So you finish the show, and then you do the meet the athletes where people pay 100 or something euros. You don't get any of it, by the way. And then and then you go to bed, and then get up 4 o'clock to the next venue. So we did 3 shows in 3 days, and that taught me a lot about my body. Plus, I was sitting there just watching what Ronnie and Jay were eating. I was thinking, what are you eating? I'm jotting it down, just writing it down. Because the thing is, we see these guys, they're massive. I mean, Ronnie looked obese. He was so big that he looked like somebody who was obese. His shoulders were hanging over, his lats were hanging down. And literally just, I was in better condition than they were. And even the magazine said that afterwards. I was really on point. So I took that, I wrote everything down in those 3 days. And then I applied that to myself on, a couple of months after that, and started dieting for the Ironman. And yeah, I knew I'd done my homework. And when I carb loaded, I put on like 9 pounds in 3 days when I carb loaded.
How did you go about peaking for 3 shows over like a 4-day period in terms of like your carb ups? Did you mess around with your water or anything? Because that must have been a massive struggle.
It was a big struggle. I think the problem was I with the old school, we believed in dehydration. I never saw Jay Cutler drink a sip of water for those 4 days. Neither did I see Ronnie Coleman doing that. And that's it. And I knew it was going to do. So literally when the whole whatever without drinking any water. So I was just, you know, it was hard work. It really was. By the last show, I was so lean. I mean, I was so lean. I could see my liver.
How do you keep that fullness though? If you're that dehydrated for so long?
No, you don't. You don't,
Yeah.
because so on the third day you realize that you're getting fatter. If you see the condition, you can see Ronnie and Jay were not really in condition. We're not even though that much in condition, because they were a lot fuller. Whereas I just decided the only way to just stand a chance, at least get comparisons with them, because there were other competitors as well from Europe. The only way to do that was to make sure that I was going to be a little bit flat, but then I was hard and dry, that the judges couldn't ignore me, and that's exactly what happened. I had to gamble, because you play the size game with them and the fullness game, you won't win, because Jay Cadlett's leg, one of his legs is bigger than mine, bloody whatever. This guy's so big. I mean, we underestimate how big. When you stand next to them and you think, "Fuck off! How the hell did you get that big?" But that's just, I mean, we were talking. I was standing on that stage, 18 stone plus, and you think, "Well, what do they actually weigh?" If just a different level. It was a good experience, and and I learned a lot from those 3 shows that I did. So everything was written down. So I put everything together and then literally went on, and I knew I was on because I was looking at myself in the mirror. Normally in the hotel rooms, you couldn't really see much. But when I looked at myself, I saw like striations in parts of my legs that I'd never seen before. And I thought, they can't ignore me. When I weighed myself and I thought, hang on, you put on maybe 9 pounds, they couldn't ignore me. So that was it.
What did you place in those?
I was third. I came third. I just thought that, and Tony Freeman kept saying it's between you and me, you and I, blah blah blah. But I know that I'm from St Albans. It's not, I was supposed to doing all the shows myself. I think at that time, Cytec was helping me a bit, and so I didn't really have any. I wanted to make the top 5. That was it.
Yeah.
And I came third. That was it.
Fair play. It's not like these days. They've got pro shows, qualifiers in every single country. And you got guys qualifying for the Olympia who are not even remote in contention, So, back then, I suppose people can't really understand. Obviously, a third place finish at that show is probably more significant than a win at some of the pro shows these days.
Absolutely. I mean, you turned up and you saw people, and you stood there and you thought, damn, I mean, because everybody, I think when you give out pro cards too soon, right? Because you end up with people who are not really, I can say old enough, mature muscles, because there is a difference. I mean, you can see the difference on stage when you look at somebody who's old. Look at Dexter Jackson. You look at Dexter, he's in 50, you can see the muscle maturity, and I think when these young people who've been just done it through just a lot of drugs, you can see the difference. And I find that very scary. Everybody wants to get there now. Unfortunately, that's now how it is,
So, well, even Jay Cutler and that was doing it 20 years, really, wasn't he?
Yes, of course, yeah.
And Ronnie, although he became, a bodybuilder very quickly, he was lifting since school.
Absolutely. It's what I always say to people. I don't know if you guys are aware, but if you look at my page, it talks about Team Savage, where I was doing a lot of prepping. I used to prep a lot of athletes and winning just shows and turning them pro. And then eventually I realized that I didn't want to really do that anymore. I couldn't do my job because it's not bodybuilding. It's not what it was. We used to wait until we were ready to compete. You know what I mean? We used to wait until we were ready to compete, whereas nobody does that anymore.
Now they compete until they're ready.
Yes, it's true. Because I mean, you go to when you went to shows in the past, see people walking around, covered up and working hard, because you're chasing one pro card. You're just chasing one pro card. So everybody had to step up. Whereas now you can miss the pro card, come fifth, and then do another show and then win it and then get your pro card. And then you put a picture on social media and then you get thousands of likes, and then you're convinced that you're the best. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you can get pro cards in other shows, like the Miami Pro. That's not in Miami. I think it's in Scunthorpe.
But what's the difference between Miami Pro competitions and the IFBB 2 Pros? It's the same thing. They're giving out the same, charging people extortion amount of money to compete and giving out pro cards that don't mean shit.
Mm.
That's exactly what's the difference. They're copying that model.
Well, a lot of people don't use them. You used to have to, I don't know whether you did this, but you used to have to actually write to the IFBB, didn't you? And explain what you were going to do with the pro card.
Absolutely. You have to I got my pro card. It wasn't automatic that you got your IFBB, you got qualified for a pro card. Now you had to write to Wayne D'Amelia, and then the UK body had to sanction it. So only one person got a pro card, and it was just then we knew you got the respect, and it was, it was like, it's not like that anymore. You know how things are going differently, and
Yeah, I mean, the people making success of it actually aren't even competing anyway.
Exactly, that's it. I mean, the competition's done really. I mean, it's just, if I was going to get into bodybuilding now, I don't think I would actually compete. I would know how to market myself another way, because you're competing for the man, and I think the man actually doesn't give a shit about you. And unfortunately, when I always say, when I was competing at the British finals, every single year when you qualified, they paid you, they gave you money to compete. They gave you money to compete, and then they hired the Hilton Hotel for all the qualifiers. So you were well looked after. Now, because only one person was going to win, and the whole country came to Wembley to watch it, and it was just rammed. It's not like that anymore,
Yeah. The people, they're all talking about our support and hashtag, social circles, but no one goes to any of the shows either. The spectators aren't there either. So
I know it's a different sport. It's evolved. It's evolved.
The outcome is actually no one wants to see anyone at the show. You want to just put it on Instagram. Yes. Here's what the show would have looked like if anyone was there.
Yeah, it's true, because it's about. I was prepping lots of people, like I said earlier, and I realized that it was all for social media bragging, and some of the people I told were really into it. Some of them don't even train anymore, because whereas I started training at 15, and I'll train to the day I'm told by my doctor that I shouldn't, or even then I'm going to fight him. I've been in the nursing home, in the nursing home, lifting dumbbells, hiding dumbbells in my wheelchair. I'll be doing all of that.
I've got a question. Sorry, I nipped off. My kids are at the door. They wanted something that they left in the house. So you mentioned at the start of the podcast that the pressure was on in your career to move to America, for the big sponsors and all that good stuff. Do you think if you were bodybuilding in this era, you would have been more successful because it's more accessible now, doing it from an international standpoint? The likes of James Hollingshead winning all the big contracts and stuff. And he's able to do that from the UK, So do you think that would have helped you with the technology and stuff?
I mean, this is just I don't even know how to answer that question, because it's a very difficult question for me. I see James Hollingshead, and I'm thinking, well, Luke Sando was the golden boy of the British bodybuilding. They want somebody. They want somebody that they can push, not worry about their health, not worry about anything about them. Just push, use them to advertise whatever in this country. So Luke Sando, I mean, he passed on very sadly. I think about it. That winds me up. That annoys me, because I think a lot of it, people are saying it's suicide. We know it isn't, because his family put out, I don't know if you saw what his family put out. That it wasn't, I don't know if you read it.
Yeah, it was difficult because we had Ben Chow on the podcast, so it was difficult. There was contradicting stories between what his family put out and what his friends were saying. So, but I don't really get into that. You know, it was just, we all sort of mentioned how sad it was, but we never really speculated too much.
No, I mean, I whatever the reasoning, whatever is the reason was, it's a very, very sad for the industry. And I think that what should have happened was look at what happened, whether it's suicide, his family is saying suicide, it wasn't suicide. And as a parent, I'll go with the family, because the worst thing to hear is that when it's not the truth. Do you get me? Because there's a lot of speculation, a lot of whatever in the whatever. So his friends might say that, but I go with what his family is saying. As a parent, I got children who are older than Luke. Do you understand? My children are older than Luke, and people need to be looked after. Now, James? Are they going to look after James? Because at this point, it's like bombarded. Blah, 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 everybody's want a piece of you because you won a pro show. Blah blah blah, and and are they going to look after him? That's what my problem is. Because they don't look at bodybuilders don't look after each other. The industry doesn't look after us. You know how many people who've left bodybuilding in my era with absolutely nothing, no plan B, no financial sort of security, ill health. You can name them like one after another. I put a post about
Daz Ball was a prolific one, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Daz
exactly.
Ball was a British golden boy, and his obviously his kidneys failed, and they couldn't drop him fast enough.
Yes, that's exactly. That's what the industry's about. So you have to look after yourself. I'm not moving to the fucking States and end up selling my ass so that I can make ends meet, because that's what we were doing back in the day. You moving to that that's the truth.
Literally selling your ass, or
pardon? No.
Is that literally selling your ass, or
okay? So listen to this. This is I speak about bodybuilding. So I'm at a show in New York, and I'm in the hotel. That's the Night of the Champions. I get a phone call from the man. He goes, "So, hi, my name's Eddie. Are you ready?" So, do you want to make a quick $500? Okay. How do you want to do it? So you come to my room and pose for me in your trunks. Just pose. This is the 2 days before the show. So you will go into that room, do a bit of posing. You know what? If you get your dick out, we give you another $1,000. And then you're all skinned bodybuilders. You a lot of the pros in the past won't talk about this. I'm talking about it with the fucking truth. I know names that are big names in the industry that fucking did it. It doesn't matter. Because in the 70s, the rugby players who never earned any money were doing exactly the same thing. Before you know it, you got a bunch of men sitting there playing hide the sausage with your penis, and then you get a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? So that's what that's the past. That's what bodybuilding was about. The muscle worshippers. There are just so many of them up to now. And whenever people send me requests, and can you send me your dirty? I've sold my dirty trunks for $100 after I got off the stage. You need the money. Somebody's like, "Eddie, can I have your trunks?" And then he takes it from me and he gives it to his girlfriend and puts it in the handbag. And you think, what the fuck are they going to do with it? I'm thinking, there's $100. That's how seedy it became, at the point where every show you went to, the people were there. They're sitting on the front row, second row behind the judges with binoculars. That's what it's about. It's the people that you attract, and then the fan only page. You go, somebody made a fan page for me in New York. I didn't even know who it was, and people request you, "Can you do this? Can you meet them here?" You end up. It's crazy. That's how you made the money. A lot of pros, they make the money like that in the States, especially in LA, and I'm saying it, and they know that. And I didn't. I thought, no, it's not something that I wanted to do. I mean, if I was in the boarding school, I mean, if I sucked cock, it was up to me. I don't want to be doing it as its career. Do you know
what I mean? It wasn't just fucking grapefruits then.
Pardon?
It wasn't just Kai Green who fucked grapefruits then.
No, that's just one of those things. I mean, it's we were all doing it. That's what we all did. It was easy money. No,
I think that's the problem. So Kai Green has a tarnished reputation because of that, but deep down there have been tens to hundreds of bodybuilders that have done exactly. Yeah,
we've done worse. Okay, listen, brother, I didn't judge Kai Green at all. I just think good on him. I mean, he shouldn't have come in the grapefruit. That's the only thing that. No, but you know what? But like that's how we made our money back in the day. And you know what? I'm not dead. You know, if somebody says to you, Ed, can I touch your bicep? And you think, you know what? I want to punch this man. I mean, I'm a straight man. I think a naked man is the ugliest thing in the world to look at. But then you got to stand there and then hold back the vomit, and then take the $1,000.
I love how I love where the line is. Like, you can fuck the grapefruit, just don't come in it.
Yeah, that was too much.
That was too far. But, I mean, it doesn't. I don't judge him at all. I mean, you do what you got to do. I mean, you take what you got to take. You do what you got to do. People should leave Kai Green alone completely. I mean, Kai Green, I admire him. He's marketed himself, because the last time I was with Kai Green was in 2010 in Melbourne, in Australia, and we were sitting in a minivan, and he was trying a lot of shit. I mean, I remember thinking, bloody hell. No, but he was talking. I'm thinking, dude, shut up. He spent the whole journey talking about Will Smith's son and his work ethic. I'm like, dude, I'm dehydrated. I'm about to get on stage. Just shut the fuck up. But then that was kind of good, you know. That's how he is.
He's gotten a little weirder more recently, I think.
I know. I mean, it's a shame we didn't have these earpods. I'd have fucking sucked mine in and listen to like Elvis or something. Like, it'd be more interesting than fucking.
Good call.
Johnny, what was it? You who met him, Johnny, and you like asked him something. He started talking. He just went, "Okay, bye."
Oh, somebody mentioned on the podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it Ryan Reiner or something? He said he like was like, "Oh, hey, really cool to meet you," and he was like, "Yeah, man, you just got to think about it." And he was like, "I'll go."
No, I mean, it's I like people who are a little bit out there. You know, I like personalities, because I think I'm a bit weird, and I think I like weird people. But sometimes he crosses the line. He steps over the line a little bit. But that's Kai Green. We admire him for it. You know.
Yeah, well, the guy's not even competing, but he's still one of
and
the
he's making money from it. That's what I'm saying. He's he's smarter than we think he is, and I admire him for it, 100%. You know?
Well, must be making more money than the Olympia competitors.
He's probably on the biggest contract in world bodybuilding, I reckon.
I know. Because he's a personality. It's a character, and it's a caricature. He's everything that you look at and think, fucking hell, this guy's fire out, but then you can't help but watch him. And that's what I love about him. It's, you know, you're like, that's it. You're like, oh my God, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he came in that.
What's crazy is his physique is still, if anything, has improved since.
Yes.
You know, he looks a lot better these days. So,
but that's what he's letting you see, mind. That's
a
point. Yeah, good point.
We like characters and personalities. You know, otherwise it's really boring. And you know, we like people who just a little bit different in every industry, in every sport. Look at Muhammad Ali. He was a little bit. You know, I met him once. He was funny. He was, you know, a bit crazy with the stuff that he did when he came to my school when I was 16. I remember thinking, wow, how can anyone get away with that? He just jumped out of the stage and grabbed one of the teachers and snubbed her right in front of the cameras. And he didn't give a shit. You know, that's Muhammad. I know, like, not a kiss. He just snubbed her. Like, and he didn't give. And like, you need personalities like that in life, in every industry. Otherwise, it becomes boring.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, when I turn on Instagram, I'm bored as fuck very quickly because everyone's saying the same boring shit about like hashtag blessed and fucking surround yourself with positive. Fuck off, man. Come up with your own shit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've got a little ADHD, and it's just like I can't even read some of the shit that I see. I backed off a little bit, like I say, from the industry because it frightened me, and I tell you why. Like you said, like I said earlier, I used to prep a lot of people, and part of the prep. I mean, they run the UKBFF British finals. I think 2015 or something. Had about between 34 and 38 competitors who had qualified, and you had to prep them all, and it's crazy. Literally, just like you get up in the morning and spend 2 hours just answering 100 and something messages. It's just like relentless. But I got to a point where an incident made me sit back and think, you know what, I can't really do this anymore. So there's a man one of the lads, 24 years old, same age as my son, he's competing, and you know that he doesn't really have the genetics to get to where he wants to get to. And, now it's become a fad as well. That's the problem. And bodybuilding is too dangerous to be a fad. Do you get me? So he says to me, can you get me some trend? He's getting ready for a show, and his guy couldn't get the right trend. And so I got it from him. I got to the office and he said, can you show me how to put it in my shoulders? Because I've always done it in my glutes, and my cheeks are sore because obviously pre-contest you're on faster acting stuff, blah blah blah, and then too many jabs. So I said, okay, so I'm a qualified nurse, and in a way, even though it's illegal to take those and whatever, but I can administer safely injections because remember, that's what I did. So I got it ready, and I was about to jab. He goes, hang on, does this contain peanut oil? So I said, oh, wow, I didn't ignore them. I don't know. I was like, no, hang on, I'm allergic to peanuts. So I backed up. I'm thinking, hang on, you're allergic to peanuts. So right, let's find out from the guy I got this from, let's find out if he knows. I called him, he didn't have a clue. He called this guy, didn't have a clue, just kept calling around. Then eventually I just thought, no, I can't do this. And when I came home, my wife's also a nurse. We said they're talking, and then she made a comment about, you know what? You'd have killed him. You could have killed him if you jabbed him. And that was it for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that I probably could have gotten away with it in terms of the law, found a way to, but then could I have lived with it myself? Mm. That's the problem. And it was and then I couldn't do my job anymore. People are coming to me. I know what drugs to tell them. I know what to do with them. I know how far to push them to make them into champions. And then that wasn't happening. Then the other side was I was getting people who didn't have the genetics, but they'd win a qualifier, and then they get such a chip on their shoulders. I mean, they were not even chips. They were like potatoes sitting on their fucking shoulders, walking around. I'm thinking, you know what? And I just couldn't deal with it because that's not the bodybuilding I knew. And if I had killed somebody, can you imagine if, God forbid, I killed him and then I'd come home and you have to live with that for the rest of your life? No, I had to back off from that. No, TikTok, I hear the TikTok is a little bit further away from me now. I prepped some people and I said to them, don't tell anybody that I'm prepping you because I don't want you to be, to be penalized for Eddie's cantish behavior and comments that he's made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's a fickle industry across the board, though, isn't it? Even when it comes to like doing shows and whoever's coaching for certain shows, there's certain shows where you've got judges coaching, clients and judging them on stage, and it's basically who can suck off the judges the most, basically.
Yeah. No, it's true though. I mean, it's not about the physique anymore. It's the passion. It's not about that anymore. Social media has changed it to a certain point because you're looking at somebody. I mean, there's a guy called Malcolm Brown who was also British champion. He won, I think, 1987. He won the UK, I think, light heavyweight or middleweight, whatever, British champion. He's the first guy who first helped me with my first show in 91. he said something to me that I never forgot. He said to me, before you choose a coach, look at that coach and decide whether you want to look like them. Do you get me? Just look at them. Especially if you're a guy, you know, I trained with Charlie Claremont for all his pro for about 6 years, all his pro career, because I love this physique. He was one of the best physiques I've ever seen. You know, I mean, we don't talk anymore. There's a bit of this disagreement, but he's godfather to two of my kids. You know, but I trained with him, and I was used to that kind of physique. And if you want to take advice from people like that, people who you look at and think, you know what, I like how he trains. I like what he looks like. I like the fact that he's trying to develop every body part, blah blah blah. So we listen. We listen to the people who inspired us. You know, if you're inspired by somebody who clearly takes a shitload of drugs, who looks like they're about to drop dead, and they're only in their 30s, you don't know whether they can have kids or not because of the abuse that they've done to their bodies. And then every time you see them, they're like, every sentence, like, you got to start thinking, hang on, is this what I want? Do I want to listen to that person? And I think we're losing that in the industry. What I'm suggesting is that we should have a body that regulates this kind of shit and say, right, hang on, you know, a body that if you want to run a show, you pay into that body, and that body can assess and say, right, why, you know, do you know what I mean? People that Luke died, we just move on. You know, Dallas Carver died, we just move on. Do you remember when Ayrton Senna died in Formula One? Do you remember that when he died? Do you see the safety measures that were put in place straight away? Bang, 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 bang. Look at when that footballer, Patrice, whatever, he had absolutely, listen, but now when you go to a football match, you go, the medics are there, they're prepared for it. And even though it was some isolated incident, they're not going to let that happen again. But bodybuilders, because I know the promoters, because I've been in the industry long enough, most of the people who are promoting shows and doing all this federation stuff, I know them, you know, and they're doing it for the money. They don't give a fuck about the athlete. They don't give a fuck about you. They want to make money. And why don't we just say, right, enough is enough. So many people are suffering. People are not coming forth and saying, look, this is happening to me. They're not going to say that, especially the older ones. I'm saying it. I'm telling people exactly what happened, how I had an abscess, how I nearly died. You have to talk about these things, because if you don't, the younger people don't know. You know, you might get a backlash from people saying, Eddie said this, Eddie said that. But you know what I think? Fuck them. They know where my gym is. I put the address up there. If they want there, they can come out. They can you can have an insurrection in my fucking gym if they want. You know, but I will say it like this, because it's important that the young people know, that will listen to what you're putting out there.
Yeah. No, but it is a very good point. Well, they're all very good points, and you know, because you're someone that's been there, done that, and you're kind of somewhat out of the industry a bit more now. Having you saying that is very useful, and I think a lot of people need to hear that as well, because I think a lot of the people that are still within the industry are almost too afraid to say that. So I think,
yeah, it's because a few years ago, I told you I was prepping so many people, and I know what I did to get to where I got to. Am I prepared to risk to do that with someone else's life? Especially when I'm in my late 50s. No, I'm not. Because I wouldn't be able to live with myself afterwards. Because there was some crazy shit. I did some crazy shit where insulin was the drugs that made me. I did because I used to get panic attacks from too much gas. So I could only do a maximum of 750 grams of test a week. No more than that. I couldn't do any more than that. So I had to make sure that insulin was what made me grow. I went up to 23.5 stone on insulin. I was happy with how I looked. But then what I had some hypoglycemic episodes that were scary as fuck. Do you know what I mean? Where you're with people that think, should we call the ambulance? But then I don't want to risk someone else's life that way. It's scary. I know, you know, come on, prepping people is so easy, but prepping idiots, it's not.
Well, I mean, That's the other angle, though, isn't it? Because the consumer seems like less prepared because of, it's not just fitness or anything. I'm a teacher, and what students are willing to do to enforce their own knowledge, like, you know, a lot of time I just go, would you like me to Google it for you? You know, it's like they want to just give me the answer now, give me the answer now. So if they can go on social media and just be like, someone says do 2 grams a test, in you go, like, without any base, like, it's not, I mean, this isn't all young people. I'm saying they're just so used to being forced information that actually they're not used to looking for it. They're actually,
you know,
carry on.
Can I? Okay, so I'll give you. I was competing in Australia, I think 2005 in Brisbane, and I was walking around in the the expo, the big expo, and then I saw a steroid handbook somebody was selling in one of the stores, and then I looked at it and I'm reading it, and he says, "Oh, Eddie, you Eddie Abbew?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Put that down." I said, "I'm just checking a few things out." This is before the boom of the internet, everything's here now. And he said to me, "Don't look at that." He goes, "Every product in there that I'm praising, I was paid 10,000 Australian dollars by the makers to do that." So, do you know what I'm trying to say? So, listen to this, right? I am saying what the drugs do to people, not based on what I've Googled, but based on like nearly 40 years of being in the industry and seeing how people have destroyed their lives. Forget about the people who are dying from it, for instance, right? Look around and think, how many people, how many ex-pro bodybuilders have made it financially sound, physically sound, emotionally. Some people are trying to kill themselves when they come off stop competing. There is so much in the background. I'm a mental health nurse, and I was seeing people sitting in front of me with mental health, and I'm thinking, I'm still going to push them further and turn them into bodybuilders, knowing very well where that leads to. And it got to a point where the debate, the constant. I was talking to a counselor. I went to see a counselor, and for different reasons, like things going on in my head that I'd never understood. And I went to see a counselor, and then she says to me, "Why don't you come off? Have you ever come off everything completely, like for months and months and months?" I said, "No, I haven't." So for about 8 months, I came off everything, and it's like somebody has stretched whatever in my head. I'm thinking, who the fuck are these people around me? Even I realized that what I wanted to do with my life was help people. So now if you come to my gym, you've got science about immune system and being healthy, and most of the people that I look after are people who are trying to make lifestyle changes, not obsessed about how they look and not wanting to get on stage like now. Somebody, I'm getting guys, I want to go off season. So he goes off season 3 months, but I want to cut. I'm like, what do you want to cut? What you want to cut? What? You want to build the muscle first. You want to cut. I'm like, 3 months. Unless you're an alien, you got the best genetics in the world. Even then, 3 months, I want to cut. I'm like, dude, you need at least a year and a half off taking steroids to be able to build the amount of muscle to get to where you're going to. But then he leaves me and he goes to a coach. And then now coaching bodybuilders has moved from we used to just try and so off season we tried to grow, right? When it came to pre-contest, it was all about muscle retention. That's why you see people like Flex Wheeler standing on the stage 15 stone and looks massive. It's about muscle retention. But now that's out the window. They go to somebody else and they just lose tissue. They're not losing fat. So the idea bodybuilding was about off-season build the muscle, pre-contest, lose the fat, being very careful not to lose 1 ounce of muscle. That's what was sold to me. But now it's not the same. We got all these dickheads who walk around calling themselves coaches online, and then they put people on diets. They starve themselves. You see them standing on the stage with their wrists, like, then I got a trophy. I'm like, dude, you what the fuck are you gonna do with the trophy? You know what? I didn't get into bodybuilding for trophies. My trophies, my wife put them in the fucking shed. They were so dirty. She said they were making so much dust. She shoved them in the shed. Now I got a few of them. Well, some of them are broken. Some of them, the dust, you can get them off. I didn't get into it. I've got 4 trophies in my house. Only 4. My the one, my British finals, first show I ever did, British overall, and my Olympia medal. That's it.
Yeah.
The rest I didn't get into. The qualifiers just lying somewhere.
So I'm guessing you never did keto.
No, I did. No, do you know what? Right, this is in 2007 when I did keto for 10 weeks because I wanted to try what it was about. Because Tony Freeman, that's how we prepped for the Ironman that he beat me when I came third. And I thought, let me try. I tried keto before. I went on keto for 10 weeks, and I think one morning I got up and I lost 6 pounds overnight. Because I everybody's different. I did the keto, but after the show, I grew. That was the best growing I ever did because I think my body was too depleted. It's like, you fucking idiot, give me the carbs, you prick. And then
maybe Tony was throwing you off. He told you he did keto, he didn't really.
Maybe, but I know he was working with Dave Palumbo at the time, and Dave is a strong keto advocate.
Oh, you're ringing.
No, somebody was trying to call me. Yes, I'm back. Tony is a strong keto advocate. So Dave was a strong. I don't know what he's like now because I don't really follow many people. I just, there's some that I don't know what.
And it just so happens that he also sells macadamia nut oil as well. Just happens.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah.
What I wanted to say, because obviously, like, you have the gift of hindsight. Yeah. So, like, you're the age you are and you've seen and you've done it. But I'm sure you can understand. I mean, I'm a little bit older as well. I'm sure you can understand these young people coming in. They're not into listening to older people. They're not into it. So what's your advice to someone who's like, you just like, don't take my word for it, and how to explore for like the real information around using these compounds, around how to do it, because they're probably going to do it fucking anyway.
Yes. Okay. So I put a post up on Facebook recently. I don't think I put it on Insta. I find Insta very, it's just too fake. I know the whole social media is fake, but then I know so many people. I work with so many people, and some of them you see them and you know the problems that they have. And if they were honest about it, people will respect them more. But then you see them like, hi, look at me, how happy with my life. And that bores me. What was the question again?
It was just like, basically, you've got hindsight, so the younger generation, but they're going to do it anyway because what the fuck would you know? Like,
That's it. I put that picture. There are 2 pictures where I am in 1987 when I was 100% natural, and 2007, and I put those 2 pictures together. And somebody asked me a question and said, "Well, what if you had to speak to your younger self? What would you, would you have done anything different?" I'm like, I would have told him to fuck off. No one. I had a goal, and no one is going to stop me from achieving that goal. I'd have told if I went back in time and saw my younger self and some grumpy old man standing there telling me, "Fuck off! I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to get to the Olympia stage." No one would have influenced me. But at the same time, now there's so many people doing bodybuilding that so many people don't have the genetics to get to where they want to get to, so they have to resort to taking the drugs. Look, it's the same as when you see watching a catwalk, show, like you see Naomi Campbell or Kate Moss wearing a nice dress, okay? And then on Saturday night, I was working the door, you see a girl who weighs about 21 stone wearing the same dress. Because that's exactly what bodybuilders become now. That girl's got the genetics to wear that dress, you don't. But now everybody's thinks, you know what? If that person can do it, I'm doing it. So they end up caning stuff because that's what it's about. Everybody thinks they can do it. You know, you see the analogy. You know, it's very, very sad. So they're ending up taking too much and then listening to the wrong people. But you can't change them. I think they could make up their own minds. But at the same time, I'm trying. If I can stop one person, I'm happy. You know what I mean?
Well, the initial thing was the men's physique, wasn't it? So they made it attainable, so then everyone can do it, right? And so they could make the money that way. Now that kind of died out a little bit now, and now apparently, everyone. I'll get some messages like, you know, competing. I don't know who you are, but I don't want to be mean or whatever. And they're like, I'm going to put on 15 pounds by next stage, and I'm like, you're going to put on 15 pounds in 6 months? You haven't got any muscle at all. How are you going to create another you know, I don't know who's feeding them the thing. It's the ego. It's very strange.
It's so I've had because I'm trying to do a documentary eventually. I mean, COVID stopped it a bit, and because I've got so many, I'm trying to do a documentary. And the documentary is about the children of parents who were on steroids all the way through their lives. Because my daughter, my oldest, is a counselor, and when she talks to me, sometimes she talks to me and I want to bang my head against the wall because I remember, you know, they had to adjust to my it's not just your mood, because I was still doing my parental stuff, but then everything about you is different when you're on this stuff. So I think the reason why people listen is because we are at the point where somebody's telling everybody, you know what, don't come up with steroids. Stay on it and then reduce it and then it's back up again. So nobody's coming off. But you know what these steroids do to you mentally? If you're all these hormones, they give you that alpha male syndrome. That's the reason why a 20-year-old's car insurance is really high, because they can't control their testosterone. When I was on the gear, I was like a 21-year-old boy, even though I was 20. I was in my 40s. You know what I'm trying to say? So in that way, I think that the ability to reason is slightly impaired. You know, that's why they listen to all that rubbish.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced with that. I have over the years, you know, I've experimented with dosages and what have you, and seen and tried to use a third person's perspective on how I behave when I'm on or off, etc. But I'm just a big believer in, if you're a dick, it makes you a bigger dick.
Yes, I agree with that. But then, you see, that's you, right? But then there's so many people who are not like you. The world is, we've got more dicks in the world than you realize. Do you know what I mean? And then and a lot of them come into this sport not realizing how hard it is and how much work they got to put into it. So they end up taking more and more and more. And I think that affects their... Look, I used to prep people, like I said. I used to see them, they sit in front of me and you can see the behavior change in them. I could see it visibly as a mental health nurse. And it used to worry me. I think, oh my God, why are they like that? So I understand that, but I know you're young. You may not think that there's a change in you until you come off everything and you stop bodybuilding, and then you think, because you never actually get the chance to be who you know. I don't know if that makes sense. I came off everything, and all the pros that I was speaking to when I was trying to do my documentary, they all said the same thing. It's when I came off everything, I remember thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Why have I not got any plan B? Your perspectives in life get changed because you're chasing, you're a drug addict, whether we like it or not. It gives you that, you know something, right? When you've been off a course for a while and you hit it and you walk into the gym and you're like, yeah, you feel like you're the king. You look at the dumbbell and you're trying to just throw 150 kilo dumbbell to something because you feel invincible. And that in itself, whether you think that's affecting you mentally or not, you know, I'm saying that it is.
Yeah, I think it comes with age a little bit as well, though, I think. But
yes.
There is also a caveat that certain compounds affect people in different ways. Like Tren makes most people dicks.
Yes, yeah.
But I think
absolutely, yeah.
It's an exacerbation. So I think if you said someone who's a dick makes you more of a dick, but I think if you're more anxious or nervous, I think added hormones will make you more anxious and nervous. You know, if you have to be screwed on pretty tight to be aware that these things are happening. It's like, I don't know, like LSD. Like I remember my dad sat me down when I was quite young and was just like, "You're not quite screwed on properly. Don't try LSD. I don't think you'll ever come back." And you know, he was just like, you know, that was the drugs talk. My dad was toured the world as a rock musician in the 70s. You know, he knew about drugs, so he sat me down and was like, "Look, there's drugs. You're gonna do some of them. Like, don't do acid because you're not made out of
That's brilliant.
You know, you're not made out of the right stuff." And I think steroids is the same. Like, not as bad as acid, maybe, but if you're not tightened up quite enough, it could send you down your worst pathway.
At least he knew you well, Dan.
I'd love to see you on acid.
Mate, fuck that. I'd never come back. I'd never come back. I'd be at the bus stop just shouting at the traffic and fucking.
Wait till it's ready.
You know what my problem is, right? My problem is this. With regards to what you what's with the hat? What's the name? I forget. With a black cap on.
Oh, Johnny,
yeah.
Johnny, that's it. So my problem is this. We're all affected differently by different compounds as well. That's a fact. But the problem is now you have so many people who want to achieve what they see on social media, and a lot of these people don't have any business being in the sport because, like you say about the acid, they are not quite. They don't. The lid is not completely tight. It's true, and then already, and unfortunately, bodybuilding attracts that. If we all look within ourselves, we find there's a reason why we became bodybuilders. I mean, as a psychiatric nurse, I know that. And I've gone to counseling, you can see there's a reason. A lot of people have inadequacies somewhere. I was one of 11 kids who never got a look in. So I found myself getting a look in. We were quite poor doing that and getting that recognition. So there's something always a little bit askew with a lot of us. And some people cannot deal with the effects of the steroids properly. It may not, the effects may be subtle, but then they're there. You might not even notice them until you come up everything and you think, "Oh my God, I thought it was fine." I really didn't think there's anything wrong with me at all until I came up everything. I thought, shit, I wouldn't have thought about it like that. I wouldn't have done that. Why did you do that? And some things you don't remember because it's a blur.
I think the situation can compound it as well, though. So, like, if you're on prep or something and you've got like laser focus on prep, and somebody's asking you to do something that's outside of that, or you're inclined to respond a bit more, irritated or whatever. But I mean,
yes.
Fine when I'm, in a more relaxed state in the off season and my mindset's in a much more chill place and there's no trend. I'm much.
No trend. Yeah, but you seem pretty chill. You seem pretty chilled, which is good. But then, that's you. I've had the advantage of knowing so many people over the years, not just people I compete against, but they're prepping thousands of people over the year afterwards. And then I realized that, oh my God, there are more people who don't have the lid tied on than the opposite. And as soon as you give them the gear, they come in. One of the guys was telling me, he's 20 years old. I know I'm going to need TRT by the time I'm 30, but I don't care. And then I can't. Okay, so it's not affecting him any other way. It's not violent. It seems to be functioning normally in society. But that alone, that sentence, made me think, no, dude, you're not thinking, because that's a long time effect that can mess you. You're having kids. It can affect you adversely. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there is also that aspect of so many people are doing it now, and so many dicks are doing it.
Yeah, well, Dan's successfully doing it, so there's hope for everyone.
Good.
I'm a massive dick.
So Ed, as like a summary of like looking for a coach, especially for the younger generation, what, from your perspective, how would you sort of let like the younger generation know, what to look for when looking for a coach?
That's do you know what? I don't know what the answer is. I'll be honest with you, because I'm old school. If somebody can send me a picture, I've seen somebody can send a picture, especially online. You take about 100 pictures, then you select one or two and decide what you're going to send to your coach. You send the coach. So I'll give you an example. A lady comes in trying to lose weight. She lost 4 pounds that week. She came in to see me and we sat down and I looked at her, I said to her, "How are you doing?" And she broke down crying. There's so much going on in their life. How do you know that if the person is losing weight? We're not trying to lose weight, we're trying to lose fat and hold on to muscle. So how do you deal with, you don't know that person's mental state because you're not seeing them. I like to see people, if you can personally, I think choose a coach that you can see, not somebody that you can see, not all the time, but maybe once every 2 months, once a month, and once every fortnight, somebody that you can see and make the decision, see what your mental state is, see how you're handling it. No, go by a picture and how much weight you've lost, blah, 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 you're coming through, you're looking really well. I struggle with that. I like to see people. And that's my biggest advice. And then the other thing is, look, do your research. If somebody's asking you to take a drug, find out why. Don't just go into, you say, this is a link, read about the drug. The link is going to be promoting that drug. Read up about the drug completely. Just, and the other thing is, I think there should be a body. I think there should be a body. I think there should be a body that that regulates this. You see, so that somebody's on the register, somebody who's done something bad, somebody who's preaching, advocating, using dangerous stuff. Or
Dan's on a register. Does that count?
You don't want that register, no, that's.
But yeah, no, I definitely resonate with where you're coming from. But it depends on your goals as well, doesn't it? Like if you're a lifestyle client, then you don't go to a bodybuilding coach because they're not going to give you the time that you need. But then if you're a bodybuilder, don't expect the coaches to sort of nurse you. So it's like,
yeah.
I mean,
there are too many of them around at the moment. That's the problem. There's too many coaches.
Yeah.
And I think the credentials, the credentials, where are the credentials? I mean, I've prepped over 1,000 people over the years, and I can look at you and tell you what you're going to look like at the end of the prep. Whereas if somebody comes to me and does 2 shows with me, you only know my way. I've tried so many different ways, and what I do is what I've learned over the years, and it's all become a little bit generic. This is how the safest way, make stuff like that. So if you've only done 2 shows, how do you know? You're only going by what you've done, and then trying it on other, and the rest you've read. There's not been that extensive research into prolonged steroid use. When I say a high amount of prolonged steroid use in bodybuilding and up and down, and there's not been that extensive study. So everything that you read about is all hearsay. And a lot of the pros who have retired are not honest about how they're suffering. Fear of repercussions, and their family, they're not being honest about it. I know people who are going through hell at the moment, who are big names. I can't name them because they'll tell me that in the background, but I know exactly what they're going through.
Can I ask you a personal question then? Now we're on the subject.
Yes.
Do you have any adverse effects from all the years of bodybuilding that you'd want to discuss?
Not really. Like I said, what I couldn't really do was take a lot of tests. So 750 was my maximum. Otherwise, I got panic attacks.
I'm guessing you found that out by trying.
Oh, listen, I found that out by doing a sustenance a day for 2 weeks.
Right.
And yeah, because I thought, you know what, you got to step this up. And then literally, I used to get this panic, and I didn't know what they were. I went to my GP. I said, my GP, something's happening to me. And then eventually I thought, just come. Then I stopped and I realized that's what it was. And even now, it hasn't gone away completely. The effects of that is still there. There are certain things that I associate with those times that I have to remove myself from that situation. So those panic attacks, even though they've gone away completely, they've gone away. there's still remnants of it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, they can be there are triggers that I have to avoid.
Yeah, no, I get that, but I think a lot of people are not able to give themselves that sort of step back and understand it. I mean, and like Dan alluded to, if you have like sort of panic attacks, then if you're gonna take these compounds, you've got to understand that it's gonna make it a lot worse.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I never had any panic attacks. I didn't realize I'd never had a panic attack until that time. And I remember thinking, I was shocked. And like, and it kept on and on. My wife said I'd be 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd be driving on. The only thing that worked for me was driving on the motorway at 3 o'clock in the morning up to 5, up and down, and the M1 just going up and down, because that's the only thing that I could. And now that's what it was for years. And then eventually I went to my doctor. He said, "You must be depressed." The doctors, as soon as you go in there, bang, antidepressants, they just they want to bang it into your system, like another one. So I didn't, I know what they do, the medical, the medical profession. It's just about selling drugs, isn't it? They are legal drug pushers, and it's okay. So I realized that that's what it was. And when I backed up and I started taking it, I was okay. It was scary though, scary.
So on a lighter note, you are obviously one of the biggest pros to come out of the UK in terms of body weight as well. So what was your heaviest stage weight?
My heaviest stage weight was about 281 pounds. That's 20 stone 1. But then I didn't win. So, you know what I mean? So you can make up your mind about that. I didn't win. I didn't manage to finish I usually competed about 270, that was what I was comfortable at, it's my best. So I didn't really compete at that weight. And then, so when it got to the, when I got on stage once, 281, and I was standing there thinking, shit, I just got call out. I was all right. But then I'm sure if I'd come in about 5 pounds lighter, I probably would have done better. But yeah, it's 281.
What did you get up to that off season before that contest then?
You mean when I was up, then I was the heaviest I ever went was 320. Actually, 323. But then I'm 6 foot, so 6 foot, yes.
Do you have any pictures of that?
Of what?
Of the 320.
I think there's some there's a picture that you see. I'm wearing a CMP vest and I'm doing a side chest. It's on my Facebook page. I think it's on here as well. That's when I weighed 320. I was huge. I mean, the only thing about being that big is that it makes your dick small. It makes it look really, really small.
Dan, you're fucked.
Not quite hit 320.
But his dick looks small anyway.
I mean, my dick just is small. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
What's the heaviest you've gotten, bud?
I'm just going to call it a big clitoris because I reckon that sounds more manly.
You've got to like 310, haven't you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, in the morning around that, and then by evening it's like 315 or something. It was disgusting.
How tall are you?
About your height, yeah.
Yeah, that's so you have to get to that point.
Yeah,
you have to get
I felt horrible. I felt horrible.
Yep.
And like, just normal stuff. And if the sun came out, I was like, no.
Yeah, I know. You know what? I always joke about this, but we put a bidet in my toilet because I couldn't like clean my ass the way I wanted to clean it. So I don't have it now, but we got rid of it. But I just say on the bidet because it was like that bad. When you're 320, you're walking around, you sleep apnea, you're like I had a pair of scissors in my car because if I couldn't take the scissors the t-shirt off me because it's too damp, I'd cut it because it made me claustrophobic. You know what I mean? It's crazy shit, man. I started getting anxiety attacks. I'd cut so many t-shirts, and in fact now, crazy, I still got a pair of scissors in my car. Because just so that it used to get stuck on me, and many times I had to just cut it off, and then because you can't take it off. You need help.
Just had a vision of Eddie pulling up the light at the lights like on white chicks. He's kept his shit off.
Just having a fight with the shirt.
But you know what I mean? You know how uncomfortable it is.
No, I know. I haven't quite got to cut it off, but I know the feeling of getting a t-shirt half off. Yeah, if it's a bit clammy, there's that bit where you think it's not coming off.
I know. And then you panic, don't you?
we had the discussion about the bidet on this podcast quite a while ago.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah, we should.
And we wanted to clarify: is it okay to use other people's bidets?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but no one's using my bidet. I don't. No, because a bidet is personal. If somebody comes to my house and they use the bidet, I'll tell them off because. Honestly, it is, isn't it? It's for you and your family. Can you imagine somebody sticking their ass in their bidet and leaving it, unless they're going to wash it afterwards properly? You know, I'm not doing that. Basically, if you're going to clean it afterwards, you're cleaning their shit. I don't mind cleaning my wife and children's shit, but I'm not cleaning anybody else's shit. No.
Fair point.
Hey, I think we've cleared up the whole bidet thing. First, we were like, what the fuck is it for? Is it for the vagina? Don't know. Is it, is it French? Do you have to be French? Sounds French. Can you use someone else? I think we're almost there, guys.
Yeah. I think Eddie's topped it.
I think there's a little idea now planted in Dan's mind for next time when he gets the 320.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my invite to Eddie's house.
I put cellophane around the bidet.
Jack, you were going to say something then, but sorry, I cut you off.
No. I think it was bidet related. I've forgotten now. So
we've completed bidet. Bidet on the PlayStation. Finished it. It's done. Is it almost the 5 top tips?
I think so.
I think so, mate. Yeah, it is.
So, Eddie, at the end of every show, and you have covered one already, really, we ask our guests to just provide 5 top tips for the viewers at home. I try to make a hand signal go. It's a work in progress.
Yes.
But I'm gonna get it. Yeah, 5 top. I don't know where it goes after that.
Dan, I think you should just come with a slam. Just go 5 top tips. String the camera.
Bro, that's what you get, bus driver. Yeah. Bang. 20.
Robo bash,
or like 5.
Yeah, that's all right. Proper, yeah. This guy.
Ed, I got a lot of time to do
it.
I think Eddie and Dan are on the same level.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
We must be from the same family. We're the same height.
Similar, Dan.
Yeah.
I think you might think differently when you compare dicks.
Oh, well.
And then you find out it's not true. You find out it's not true what they say about black men. Listen, what is what's the 5 top tips?
Basically, it's just 5 things that you, just for the viewers, a tip. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding related. It doesn't even have to make any sense. Just 5 things. You mentioned one about what you would tell, maybe what you would say to your younger self. Yeah.
And I mean, you may think this is crazy, but I always say this to people: floss. And it's got nothing to do with bodybuilding, but floss. That's a really good thing.
And not the dance floss?
No.
Do that while you're flossing.
And then when you're, with regards to bodybuilding, just if you don't rush the muscle building process, because it's slow, and the more quality muscle you build, the more likely you're able to hold on to it. Don't rush it. And then,
and you said it was 10 years before you got on the Olympia stage. So when you got your pro card.
Yes.
And
because I wasn't ready.
But also you're part of the genetic elite, and we've got people that, like, are nowhere genetically, thinking they can do it in 2.
Yeah, but that's the problem though, because they see people don't want to rush it. I was not. Look, I at the time I was competing, you got to understand who was available. The first show I ever did in the States, I was in the second call out, and I was shocked. With 48 competitors, you had what's his name? Jay Cutler was there, Paul Dillett was there, Marcus Liu was there, Lee Priest was there, Dexter Jackson was there. They were all there, and I was in the second call out. I was in the top 10. I'm imitating and shit. So I had to get bigger. So it's not with bodybuilding. I think if you rush the process, you will have consequences. And the consequences will be severe. So that's another one. Don't rush the process. And then please, just even if you want to work with a coach online, make sure they see you once in a while in the flesh. I think that's important, because there's a big difference in seeing somebody in the flesh. And then because and the other thing is, muscle building is not about weight loss. Contest prep is not about weight loss. It's about weight loss and muscle retention. In fact, it's about fat loss and muscle retention. It's not about weight loss. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Contest prep is about muscle retention first and foremost, and then fat loss. If you get it wrong, you end up looking like a concentration camp victim on stage.
Hashtag classic.
Yeah.
I think that's about 5. I think, isn't it?
We'll take it as 5. They were solid enough. We've had some proper shit ones, so I think we can double those up. Pretty sound. Obviously, there was one early one. If you are going to fuck a melon, don't come, because that's too far.
No, you can come in.
That's too far. That's not. The rest is fine, but come. Oh,
you can come in grapefruit. I think you can come in a melon. I think it's
a grapefruit. Okay.
You can
it's a bit sour, isn't it? It's a bit sour. That's you got to be careful with the grapefruit.
Yeah, you don't want to get the pip stuck in it.
And even if you come, don't taste it.
Yeah. The melon, the melon's then finished.
Yeah.
It's not going in the fruit ball again. It's done.
It's possible. That's it.
It's like a fruit version of soggy biscuit.
No.
Oh, you guys are disgusting.
I blame you, Eddie. Mate, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a blast.
You're welcome, guys.
Much appreciated.
Well done. Well done for you, what you're trying to do. Just trying to educate the young people, because I think someone needs to do it.
Yeah, man.
And if they listen to you, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you haven't listened to Dan talk on the other episodes, but yeah, we get the same.
I like the banter between you guys. It's good. That's what creates a good program. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you for taking the time, bro.
Good to see you again.
You're welcome. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.